after Mollywood, can of worms open. Mollywood sexgate echoes in Sandalwood. Sex abuse in Kannada film industry claim. "153 Sandalwood faces right to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah." Demand for poll panel in Tamil Nadu's Kollywood.
Anywhere, wherever women are working, I think they should be protected from any kind of harassment.
Me Too sweeps South cinema.
All right, there you have it. Our top focus here on 5 Live. I'm Nabila Jamal. We're looking at the Hema Committee report release, serving as a wake-up call to all film industries. We're looking at a wave of requests and calls coming in for justice, asking for a similar probe, a similar committee to be set up within the film industry, be it Kollywood, which is the Telugu film industry, or Sandalwood at this point, the Kannada film industry. We're looking at actors coming together, possibly in the first time, asking for justice to these women who've been abused. Let me take you through those updates. The headlines first. Congress and Aam Aadmi Party coming together in an alliance in the upcoming Haryana election. Seat-sharing talks kick off. Sources say that AAP is now demanding 10 seats, but Congress offers only 7. Suspense looms over Vinesh Phogat's Haryana poll dangle. Sources say that the Congress may field Vinesh Phogat from her home turf. Meets Rahul Gandhi with Bajrang Punia. Sandalwood murder probe intensifies. Charge sheet shows blood stains found on actor Darshan's clothes. The actor also caught on camera exiting that crime scene. After Brunei, grand welcome for the Prime Minister in Singapore, the second leg of his bilateral visit. Energy cooperation bolstering ties between the two countries as Prime Minister Modi lands, plays the role, meets with the Indian diaspora. Big peace boost in Northeast. Centre signs peace pact with Tripura insurgents after they surrender arms. Home Minister hails the pact, says decade-long struggle finally ending. All right, Malayalam actor Nivin Pauly has been accused of gang rape. Very popular actor within the Malayalam film industry. And now he's, of course, denied any of these allegations, says he does not even know the girl who's accused him. But the allegations are harsh, allegations of gang rape that's been made against him and several other directors, etc. within the industry. Director, an artist, a writer. In fact, the actor has emphasized that he's going to be fully cooperating with the allegations now, and the probe, of course. But this Hema Committee report that has exposed the dirt within the Malayalam film industry has now echoed even within the Sandalwood film industry. Kannada actors, writers, directors who've now all come together to write a formal letter to the Chief Minister of Karnataka asking for a committee to be set up to probe allegations of sexual assault and abuse on women in the industry. Taking you through this report with the details.
More allegations of sexual abuse against top Mollywood actors surface. Malayalam actor Nivin Pauly is booked for gang rape after a complainant alleged that he sexually assaulted her in Dubai in November last year. The victim has accused 5 others along with Pauly. She said the actor drugged her and assaulted her. They had met her on the pretext of giving her a job. The victim alleges that she was sexually assaulted multiple times. Nivin Pauly has rejected the charges, calling them baseless.
കാരണം ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ന്യൂസ് ഇങ്ങനെ കണ്ടു, മാധ്യമങ്ങളിലൂടെയാണ് കണ്ടത്. അങ്ങനൊരു പെൺകുട്ടിയെ എനിക്കറിയില്ല, ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല, ഞാൻ സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. ഒരു ബേസ്ലെസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു അലിഗേഷനാണ്. ഞാനിവരെ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ കാണുകയോ സംസാരിക്കുകയോ ഒന്നും ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല.
A case of sexual harassment has also been filed against actor Alencia Le Lopez after a junior artist alleged that he targeted her on a movie set. Meanwhile, the Kerala High Court has sought a report from the police on the rape case filed against actor Siddiqui. The court was hearing Siddiqui's plea for an anticipatory bail. The report has to be submitted within 10 days. The skeletons in Mollywood started tumbling out after the Hema Committee report on troubles faced by women workers in the film industry was released. Now other film industries are calling for similar probes. The Film Industry for Rights and Equality has called upon the Siddaramaiah government to take immediate action to address concerns within the Kannada film industry. Top actors from the industry, including Pooja Gandhi, Divya Spandana, Chetan, Samyukta Hegde, Sudeep and Digant have proposed that a retired Supreme Court or High Court judge be appointed to head a committee to conduct a probe and frame policies in cases of sexual harassment. The actors also demanded that the probe be completed within 3 months and the findings be made public.
We don't want to sensationalize the issue. We do not want to find fault with individuals. We want to cleanse this entire corrupted, diseased system that exists. So that's why we started up the ICC. The ICC was an anonymous body within the film industry to cleanse this kind of scourge.
DMK MP Kanimoi also demanded a committee to be set up in Tamil Nadu for actors from Kollywood to voice their issues.
See, I'm not getting into the issue of who should form it or anything. Anywhere, wherever women are working, I think they should be protected from any kind of harassment. And I think it's not wrong that women are demanding to be protected.
With Shibi Mole, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me cut across to Shibi Mole, who's been tracking these allegations of sexual assault on women within the Malayalam film industry right when it happened. The Hema Committee report has really opened up a can of worms, Shibi, and it seems like it served as a wake-up call for all industries. We're looking at sandalwood industry also now, actors, prominent faces who are asking for a probe on similar lines. But this is what we see of Nivin Pauly and a bunch of them, very popular filmmakers, actors who have been accused of gang rape. It's shocking. What have they responded? How have they responded? Is there going to be an arrest that will happen? Because we know that these are non-bailable charges on them.
Well, exactly, Nabila. Like the first point that you stated, there's a beginning that's happened in a state like Kerala and in an industry like the Malayalam film industry. Just like how Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said last week, and also some of the actors in the industry also responded that this has happened in the Malayalam film industry. Let it be implemented in other industries also. That's why we've seen the Telugu industry and the Kannada industry all coming out and demanding a report like this be made, a study like this be conducted in each industry. Now, yes, since the last 2-3 weeks, ever since the Hema Committee report has been published, there have been many cases that's been registered. Around 14 FIRs have been filed right now by the SIT is what we're understanding. In this particular case against Nivin Pauly is one of the the main names that has come out. If you look at the list of the actors and the directors, its name has come out after the Hema Committee report got published. The complainant here says that she was drugged and raped by the accused involved. There are 6 accused. Nivin Pauly is the 6th accused in the case. She says that first she was offered a job by the first accused in the case, which is a woman called named Shreya, by offering her a job of a caregiver in Europe, and once that did not happen, she questioned to return the money, and that's when this first accused said that she will be offered a movie role, and that's how this incident, the alleged incident, took place in November in Dubai is what she's saying. But Nivin Pauly has clearly stated that he has no idea about this complainant or has never heard about her or met her. He says he does not even know about the other accused in the case. There are 5 other accused in the case. He says one of them, the second accused, who is a producer, is the only person he's known because he's somebody who's funding for many films in the Malayalam industry, has met him in the Dubai Mall once, is what Nivin Pauly said. But very, very serious allegations and very serious charges have been filed against him. Non-bailable offence, including rape, gang rape, sexual assault, trying to outrage the modesty of women. Very serious charges. He has said that he will move legally. In fact, 1.5 months ago, when the complaint was filed, one of the police officers had contacted Nivin Pauly and recorded a statement where he said that he does not know this woman and the complaint could be fake. And the police are also closed it, saying it's a fake complaint. So that time also he says he had consulted his legal team, and the legal team also asked him to close this because it looks like a fake case, is what Nivin Pauly said yesterday after the case was registered. He says he's going to fight till the end. That he is likely to move an anticipatory bail application, because that's what happened in the last case also. In the last 2 weeks, we have seen all the prominent actors, directors whose names have emerged filing an anticipatory bail. Since all of them are charged with non-bailable offence. But we'll have to see, since even when he's saying that he's going to fight till then, these are cases that takes a lot of time.
Absolutely, and that's what we hope, that this does not turn out to be any other case which is prolonged for years. We know sexual abuse, sexual assault cases, complaints usually go on for years, with the actual victim losing out on further opportunities and the perpetrators who still continue to get work. And that's unfortunately the design of the industry by and large. Thanks very much, Shibi, for joining us on that. Now, let me tell you categorically, in the Sandalwood film industry, which is the Kannada film industry, there's been similar echoes of what we saw in the Malayalam film industry. Now, you have insiders within Sandalwood who've come together making and requesting similar appeals to the Chief Minister of Karnataka, asking for a clear addressal to all the sexual harassment cases. So these are the demands in a letter that's been written with 153 signatures, where we're looking at the Sandalwood insiders with top actors, including actors like Sudeep. We see that a host of others like Chetan, Pooja Gandhi, who have come together to actually sign this letter asking for a committee to be set up saying address harassment concerns in Sandalwood, and asking for a systematic probe into issues faced by women actors. Sandalwood industry also asking to create safe and equitable work environment for all of them within the industry. And most importantly, a committee that should be led by a retired judge to be heading this panel and carry out investigation into any complaints that have not been addressed in the past, or anything that, or anyone wanting to file a complaint at this point will know that they are in safe hands with this committee. So this is a letter that's been shot off to Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah with 153 signatures.
You've appealed to the Chief Minister to set up an independent committee to probe cases of sexual assault against women and men alike in Sandalwood industry as well. What prompted you to write this letter?
From 2017, Film Industry for Rights and Equality, FIRE, has been fighting to make film industry, our Kannada film industry, an equitable, safe environment for all genders, and especially women and transgender. In 2017, we started the first ICC, in the film industry ICC, anywhere in the country. 2018, we stood with Me Too survivors when they were being character assassinated, when they were being victim shamed and victim blamed by powerful patriarchal vested interests, and you're talking about moneyed interests, powerful, connected people in positions of power even today. Now, what we must remember is at that time there was a lot of backlash. At that time there was a lot of opposition within the industry and outside. But over the years, with many industries fighting in the same way, we're talking about what WCC, we respect what WCC has done in Kerala, and we also respect the fact that the Pinarayi Vijayan Kerala government has actively sanctioned this HEMA committee report and looked into by a judge. We don't like a 5-year delay, but we respect that the government is taking initiative. We ask that the Siddaramaiah government, the Congress government, who talks a noble game about being upholders of the Constitution, also give justice to 50% of the population who are women, and make our Kannada film industry a role model industry for the society, for nation, and the world.
The entire Sandalwood industry has now written a letter to Chief Minister Siddaramaiah appealing him for an independent committee to probe sexual molestation cases against men, women and even from the transgender community. What prompted you to write this letter, sir?
The problem is everywhere. It's not actually the instigation and the inspiration actually came from the Malayalam industry, I think. I actually have signed the petition, that's all. Yeah. Those who initiated are there are quite a few people who initiated this process, so thanks to them. They rose up to the occasion and they raised their voice when it's actually required. It was required from a very long time. Now that they've done it, so better late than never.
But sir, is there fear? Are there artists who came up to you? Have they opened up to you so far? Is there that exploitation happening in Sandalwood? Of course, it's happening in every other cinema industry. But is it there here in the recent past in Sandalwood industry?
Yes, not only Sandalwood or cinema, it's there everywhere. That's what I keep telling about. It's like wherever there is power, there are people who misuse it and exploit people who come for like opportunities and come to work wherever you go, even in software industry or even in politics.
Yeah.
It's there everywhere. People who are misusing power, it's everywhere. It's rampant. So I know not everyone will be able to handle such a situation or will be in a position to handle such a situation. So it is difficult. The people can't speak out due to a lot of reasons. Now it's an opportunity for them to speak up, at least collectively, approach the government and see what is possible through legislation or through the political will. So it's an attempt. Let's see what happens. Speak out due to a lot of reasons. Now it's an opportunity for them to speak up, at least collectively, approach the government and see what is possible through legislation or through the political will. So it's an attempt. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, you have actors now within the Sandalwood film industry who are asking for a streamlined probe where they're taking up cases of sexual harassment that have happened in the past, or if anyone wants to speak up even in the future, then they have a safe space to go to. They have a committee to report to, and it will be taken up in a speedy manner. That's what's expected. But the big question here is, will the Karnataka government really go into setting up a committee? We know that in Kerala, the Hema committee was set up after huge criticism over the Dileep abduction case that in fact literally exposed the film industry in Malayalam at that point. And Hema committee was set up, the panel was set up at that point. And now we're looking at the revelations coming out and a ripple effect of which we see across various industries, including that of Sandalwood. Sanjana Galrani, who's a Sandalwood insider, she's worked at various other southern film industries as well, including Malayalam. Sanjana, thanks very much for joining us. Sanjana, we're looking at a committee that has been formed in Kerala, the Hema committee, which has literally sent shockwaves across various southern film industries, including Sandalwood. You have acted immensely within the Sandalwood film industry in Kannada. Have you faced any aspect of sexual abuse or sexual misconduct from anyone that you want to speak about? And what do you feel about this committee that's been proposed?
So this happened to me in my initial days when I happened to come into the film industry, that I happened to sign a certain film. And whatever happened to me in front of the camera. So I was told that it's going to be a minimalistically glamorous film. But after I signed the film and I went on the location, I was continuously forced to be doing scenes saying it's good for the film, do it. It's good for the film, do it. And I was as young as a 16 and a half to 17-year-old. And then I was told things like, oh, if you go against the director, you will get banned in the film industry. You will not have a career of your own. This is going to be
You were explicitly told that
it will be only because of you and because of you opposing to do these bold scenes in the film. And then there was a point in time during the last, Me Too phase when I happened to speak about it. And then when I happened to speak about it, there were so many people who opposed me. They were like, why are you speaking about such an old topic? I'm like, I'm just speaking out my experience.
Yeah.
Don't I have the rights to say what has happened with me and what I have gone through as a person? Because even today I am 55 films old. I work with Mohanlal, I work with Mammootty, I work with Prabhas, I work with Shivraj Kumar, Darshan, some of the finest of the stars in South India. I have worked in Hindi television. So I have certainly moved on. But whatever has happened with me, I had the rights of giving in my experience so that somebody else learns out of it. And somebody else doesn't give in to the pressure of the moment. Nothing happened to me behind the camera because I knew how to protect myself behind the camera. But I was put this professional burden and professional pressure that you have to listen to, the directions that you're given by your director. Otherwise, you'll not be an obedient artist. It's not going to be good for the reputation of your film career. And later on, the consequences after this film released, my life was very tough for 2 or 3 years until I could resurface and fight it back and get more opportunities. You know, it's really very tough. So when a woman is coming into the industry when she's 17 or 18 or 19,
yeah,
we need
what an
some
impression
kind of
this
a
would
woman
create.
committee who can guide us what we have to do, what we should and what we don't have to do, what are our rights, what are not our rights, what is it that you can say no to firmly. And we need like basic education for really young women. You know, I'm not playing the victim card right now. I am very proud of every struggle that I have gone through and I have moved on. But however, I feel really bad imagine if I would have never made it in my career. I wouldn't have been sitting here. I
have a question to ask
imagine
you,
if I
Sanjana.
wouldn't, and imagine about so many other girls who went through something like this and they didn't make it in their career. Their life is doomed. They would be petrified or paranoid to be coming into the film industry.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was so badly cornered that I spoke. Why is she speaking? Ban her from the film industry. Why is she talking about her 10-year-old experience? Why? And you know, so much of pressure put by so many other men instead of pitifying that, okay, she just spoke about her experience. I didn't want to harm anyone's career. But any which ways, the particular crew who happened to do all this to me, they are completely out of the industry. That is another story altogether. The director who happened to corner me is completely out of his own opportunities. I don't want to be taking names here because I don't want to put people who are totally out of the news into limelight unnecessarily. It's not that I fear anyone.
No, you know,
so that even if they
naming
come to
and
me,
shaming them is one step to getting justice, at least, right? That's the least that you can do and you should do. I have a question for you, Sanjana. You know, as much as you say that it did not affect you, you continue to do films. I can only imagine the number of women who may have faced an ouster. I want to particularly ask you about this case where Arjun Sarja, who is a very famous popular star in South India, he was accused of sexual misconduct by actress Shruti Hariharan. Would you want to tell us a little more? Because I remember covering it during that time when this even happened. Arjun Sarja, of course, denied the allegations. Shruti Hariharan was quite adamant on what had happened. She supported the Me Too movement. She spoke up about what had happened to her. And she was a thriving actress. She was really, you know, raring to go. A brilliant artist. And would you tell us what do you think happened there? We know that there was a closure report that came in from the Karnataka police itself. That Arjun Sarja got a closure report. The case was done and sealed, done with.
I think when things like this happen, when it's a one-on-one Me Too act, there's a lack of evidence because it would have happened a couple of years ago. And then, of course, there would be no SMSs that you have saved or no call logs that you have saved or no call recordings. So there is some kind of a supportive evidence which is required for that moment. And that is what we go through. But let's just address the root cause of the entire issue, you know, not about one actor against another. The root cause is when women enter the film industry, there's no one to educate them about how they have to take care of themselves. Therefore, we need a committee like a HEMA committee. HEMA committee out here is pointing out at people who are doing sexual misconducts. But we need a committee of women. We need a board of women who can just simply sit down and say, okay, you're new in the film industry. Why don't you come here and enroll as an artist? And here are your do's and don'ts. And this is how you need to take care of yourself.
Isn't FIRE doing just that?
Educative board.
The FIRE,
so
the committee called FIRE, an organization that's called FIRE, where you have Chetan and the likes. In fact, FIRE is the one that's actually shot off that letter. Isn't FIRE doing that job to sort of address?
FIRE is trying to do it, and I hope that they succeed in what they're trying to do. So FIRE is trying to identify people who have been sexual victims and get them justice through a retired judge. But my point is that I hope that FIRE really succeeds in what they're doing, because
of course,
you know, there's so many requests that go to the
Sanjana.
Chief Minister, and how
Do
many
you believe a quick word from you? Do you believe that there is a coterie within the Kannada film industry that can't be breached? That is also powerful, something that what we heard of in Malayalam film industry, those are the allegations, that there's a coterie, they are super powerful, and they carry out such illegalities and sexual abuses because of the power and strength they hold? Do you believe that even in Kannada film industry, there is a coterie like that can't be breached and they get away with anything?
There's no coterie which cannot be breached in the Kannada film industry. But one thing is that if you start talking or if you are outspoken about things, then your opportunities automatically are silent.
Okay.
If you are silent and if you're very tolerative, then you have more and more opportunities. That is the fact.
Just as we see in most other industries, similar allegations there as well. But Sanjana, on this front, thank you very much. But I will request you to stay with us. I want your comment on Darshan, actor Darshan, and the allegations against him of murder. In fact, I will come back to you on that. Please do stay with us. Let me take you through more updates that's coming in on the Darshan case. The one man who's almighty, he was once almighty within the Kannada film industry. He's now been accused of murder. The probe has now come out with an extensive charge sheet that all the more implicates Darshan's role in the case. As it continues, Renuka Swami's murder case probe, Sandalwood actor Darshan, his partner Pavitra Gowda and 15 others who were arrested for plotting, allegedly, the execution of Renuka Swami, Darshan's fan. The Bengaluru police has now finally come up with a charge sheet and it has submitted that charge sheet to the 24th ACMM court in Bengaluru. The police have collected over 200 pieces of evidences, which is very crucial. Blood stains, we believe, as part of that charge sheet has been found on Darshan's clothes and on the clothes of the accused here. In fact, Pavitra Gowda's slippers had blood stains in it. The FSL reports have confirmed that. A photograph has also now emerged that shows Renuka Swami begging and pleading, asking those people who are beating him to stop. That's another incriminating photo that, again, it involves and implicates Darshan quite clearly. Another evidence of CCTV also showing Darshan going in and out of that shed where Renuka Swami was murdered. Now, these are the allegations and it's all detailed down in the charge sheet that's been submitted in court. Pavitra Gowda, of course, continues to stay in jail despite her bail appeal, which was rejected. She still remains in jail while Darshan has now been moved from Parappanagrahara to Ballari prison because he was getting VVIP treatment there. If Sanjana is still with me, if I could quickly take this to Anaga is also our correspondent joining us. But Sanjana Galrani, on Darshan's murder case, he's been accused of murder. He's been in prison. And despite having enough evidence here, we're looking at VVIP treatment being given to him. Could you tell us the clout that Darshan holds? He was one of those in that coterie, as far as I know.
It's been like the dooms month in the Kannada film industry for the last 3 months. We hardly have 5 or 6 very active superstars like Darshan who really contribute to the economy of the industry. And ever since this has happened, all of us have been heartbroken. All of us have been shattered. This was completely unnecessarily a very unnecessary event that has happened in his life or in the life of that poor man, Renuka Swami. And here, the allegations also say that this is being done by the subordinates or his friends.
So Sanjana, what I gather from you is that you are not, you're unwilling to accept the fact that Darshan has been accused of murder. That you don't want to believe.
A person like Darshan would murder someone with his hands, knowing him in person. It's not that I'm favoring him here because I have any kind of affection or love with him, but Darshan, the person that we know him in person, he would not murder anyone. It's definitely done by his close subordinates. But yes, this has happened because of Darshan and his fans. All these guys, the entire
blind faith, the blind adulation, blind love towards an actor. Do you think Darshan's case is the classic example here? Because we have enough evidence that the police has presented in court suggesting that Darshan went into that shed, exited that shed, beat Renuka Swami, set the tone for his subordinates to carry on with the murder. So he did it as per the police. These are allegations that they need to prove, but the police has enough evidence to show that he was the one who ordered that murder.
No, I don't think he would have ordered the murder. Being a well-wisher of his, I hope that's not true. But let me tell you, it's a charge sheet and we have to respect it. We can't do a media trial. And we have to respect the cops for putting together a 4,000-page charge sheet. It's quite a lot of work. The last 3 months have been sleepless nights for the cops.
So you refuse to believe it? Well, let's just wait for the conviction to happen, if at all.
The conviction should not happen, dear Nabila. I hope the conviction does not happen. And because he's done a whole lot of good work also, which has completely gone.
None of it is justified. None of it is justified if he really has murdered this man. But Sanjana, thank you very much.
I hope he comes out clean. We are all hoping, as a Kannada film industry candidate, we look at him as a person from our family. We hope he's not done anything with his own hands physically. Of course, yes, this has happened because people love him a lot and by the people who he knows. But it's tough for me to believe that Darshan would use his own hands.
I really hope the guilty is punished. Thank you very much, Sanjana. Thank you. I really appreciate your time. Anaga is also with us for a quick word. Anaga, the charge sheet that's been detailed, give us the strong evidence that the police has presented in court against Darshan and his associates.
Well, that's right, Nabila. You know, including the blood stains that was found in Pavitra Gowda's footwear and on Darshan's clothes as well. So all these FSL reports have been investigated, and that you know is a circumstantial and direct evidence in itself to prove that Darshan's hand was there in Renuka Swami's murder. So totally 8 FSL reports, both from Bangalore and Hyderabad, have been submitted to to the court via the charge sheet. Apart from that, even government officers and police officers have come forward as eyewitnesses in this in this case. We need to wait and watch what more is going to come out of the charge sheet, because the police, after thorough investigation in these 3 months, have gathered sufficient evidence, be it hair strands or be it blood strands or be it the FSL report that that came out of Darshan's apparel. So all these suggest that Darshan was directly involved in the murder, but we need to wait and watch until the conviction happens. The charge sheet was submitted to the court this afternoon.
Bahraich in Uttar Pradesh has been gripped by fear following a sudden increase in wolf attacks on local residents there, particularly targeting small children along their homes. Since March, this pack of wolves has been responsible for tragic deaths and creating terror across that zone. India Today's Samar Srivastava gets you this ground report right from the epicenter. Let's have a look.
People of Bahraich are living in fear. The terror of wolves overshadows everything, leaving the community in a state of uncertainty. Since March, a pack of wolves have been responsible for the tragic deaths of 9 individuals, including 8 children. 20 others have been injured in wolf attacks.
भेड़िया काटा, नोच दिया, वह हम चिल्लाने वो सब दौड़े, तब क्या कहते हैं हमका, नहीं तो नोच डर पे करा था।
कहाँ से हमला किया था आपके, कैसे हमला किया?
यह तिरिया रहा ना।
The situation has escalated to the point where villagers are fleeing their home.
Few villagers, families have decided to migrate, to move from this particular village to Punjab due to the fear of wolves right here. We are present on the spot at the ground zero where these residences are, the huts, the pakka makan which we say are, and as you see the visuals right here, you can clearly see a lot of frogs roaming around because this particular portion has been closed. The family which was living here has moved from this particular place to Punjab.
सोचा का भेड़िया के डर से सबको लेके जाएंगे फिर, और भेड़िया जब तक रहेगी
तो एक और परिवार इस गांव का जिसने पलायन किया है यहाँ पे।
हाँ, और रामू किया है।
The Sikandarpur Makkapura village is living on the edge. People are now more concerned about their lives than their livelihoods.
डर तो का है ही है। हाँ, अलवाइन भाग
सब लोग खौफ में जी रहे हैं इस समय।
हाँ, बहुत दहशत है यहाँ पे, दहशत है। अभी मतलब शाम को मुजफ्फर जैसे बहुत अब से सबसे अंदर हो जाएंगे।
अंधेरा होगा सब अंदर हो जाएंगे?
अंदर हो जाएंगे, यहाँ कोई नहीं मिलेगा। वो बड़े लोग मिलेंगे, वो पहरा वाले जो आए मतलब पहरा देंगे।
The recent spike in attacks has led to a surge in demand for wooden doors.
डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई इस समय की। इस समय कोई सामान नहीं खरीदता था, लेकिन भादों की वजह से सेफ्टी के लिए लोग खरीद रहे हैं इस समय बहुत ज्यादा। हाँ।
तो पहले कितना आपकी डिमांड थी और अब कितनी डिमांड हो गई है?
इस मौसम में कभी कोई बिक्री होती ही नहीं थी, लेकिन इस समय बिक्री बहुत ज्यादा हो रही है कि लोग सोचते हैं कि हमारे घर पे पल्ले लग जाएं ताकि हम सेफ हो सकें।
In an effort to safeguard themselves, villagers are reciting Sundarkand Path as means of protection against wolf attacks.
भेड़िया का आतंक बहुत जोर शोर से चल रहा है। हमारे गांव में ये सनातनी मंदिर है, हम इस पर सब लोगों से कहा है कि हर रोज सुंदरकांड का पाठ किया जाए। बजरंगबली ही बचा सकते हैं हम लोगों को, और कोई बचाने वाला अब है नहीं। जो लोग आते हैं वो देखकर चले जाते हैं, रात में आते हैं वो हारन लगा करके कहकर चले जाते हैं कि जागते रहो। हम लोग कहाँ तक जागे, क्या करें? तो इसलिए अब हम सब सारे रास्ते बंद हो गए हैं, तो हम बजरंगबली के शरण में आए हैं।
The Uttar Pradesh government has launched Operation Bhedia, issuing shoot-on-sight orders.
आदेश ये हुआ है कि उनको पकड़ने का हर मुमकिन प्रयास करना चाहिए, और हम लोग कर रहे हैं उन्हें पकड़ने का, लेकिन नहीं पकड़ पाएंगे तो वो इसी तरह से हमले करते रहें, ये भी तो हम लोग नहीं बर्दाश्त करेंगे।
This situation is a stark reminder of the fragile balance between human settlements and wildlife. With Samarth Srivastava from Bahraich, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, in Uttar Pradesh's Bahraich, a pack of wolves on the prowl. Over the past month and a half, these predators have killed many within that region. They hunt in packs, have unleashed terror in nearly 35 villages. India Today's Samarth on the ground. He's at the epicenter on preparations that the UP government has made to track down those wolves, keeping the villagers literally up all night.
बाहर मच्छरदानी लगा कर सो रहे हैं, सभी अपने घरों में दरवाजे बंद करके ही सोए।
Now India Today TV is on the ground. It's 2 a.m. and we are in middle of one of the villages where we saw various attacks, and now the police teams are also combing this particular area, alerting the officials to, in a way, get into action or sleep inside. And you can clearly see the police vehicles right here, other members as well, as you clearly see the police vehicles moving from one place to another. And that's the visuals from the night. India Today TV is currently showing you the actions being taken by the police department against this wolf attacks, back-to-back attacks which are happening. But the scenario, you can clearly see, these sirens of Bahraich police are alerting the people, the villagers out here.
हाँ सर, जो है जोन में लगाया गया है 4 टीमों में, और हर टीमों में जो है 4-4, 5-5, 6-6 गाँव, आउटर गाँव लगे हुए हैं। रात भर हम हर गांव में भ्रमण करते हैं, जनता को जागरूक करते हैं भेड़िए से संबंध में कि अपनी सुरक्षा जागते रहो और घर के अंदर बच्चों को रखें और अपने भी सुरक्षित रहें और जो है जागते रहें। जो है
सभी अपने घरों में दरवाजे बंद करके ही सोएं और अपनी सुरक्षा स्वयं करें। खासतौर से अपने बच्चों को घर के अंदर ही लेकर सोएं।
जंगली जानवर हैं, घूम रहे हैं, कभी भी कोई अटैक कर सकते हैं, कोई बात हो सकती है, तो कृपया करके आप अंदर जाइए और बाहर न सोइए और बच्चों को भी अंदर रखिए और दरवाजा बंद करके ही सोइए।
बाहर कोई भी मच्छरदानी लगा करके न सोए। आप लोग देख रहे हैं कि भेड़िया काफी बना हुआ है। जब तक भेड़िया पकड़ नहीं जाता है, जब तक आप लोग जो है बाहर न सोए। बाहर मच्छरदानी लगा कर सो रहे हैं।
अब लाइट नहीं थी तो बहुत ज्यादा गर्मी लगती रही यहाँ पर।
तो लाइट की वजह से आप बाहर सो रहे हैं?
हाँ, लाइट की वजह से हम
नहीं आ रही है।
लाइट नहीं आ रही है।
कब से नहीं आ रही?
कल आज शाम से नहीं आ रही, एक बार आई थी फिर से लाइट नहीं है।
अधिक निर्देश दिए गए थे कि रात में लाइट आए।
दो है, मतलब लाइट नहीं आ रही तो क्या करें?
आइए बल्ब दिखाते हैं यहाँ पे आपको। ये देखिए, ये घर है इनका, यहाँ इनका एक बल्ब लगा हुआ है। यहाँ पर दिखाते हैं तस्वीर आपको। ये स्विच ऑन है। ये कहानी है रात की बिजली की। आपने एक निर्देश देखा होगा जिसमें कहा गया था कि कुछ भी करें रात में इन गाँव में लाइट दें, कटिंग करनी है दिन में करें। लेकिन यहाँ मैं सब कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये बल्ब नहीं जल रहा है। क्योंकि बल्ब इसलिए नहीं जल रहा है क्योंकि बिजली नहीं आ रही है और उस मजबूरी में गांव वाले सो रहे हैं बाहर। There is no electricity in this particular village at present. It's 2 a.m. Also, no street light as claimed, no doors whatsoever as claimed by the administration. So the question is raising that what administration is doing when state government ordered the doors and street lights, but nothing concrete could be seen on the ground when India Today TV comes on the ground. It's quite hard to understand then how, without such efforts, how the attacks of wolves will be stopped.
तो हम लोग सुरक्षा अपन खुद के कई लेवे तो हमरे लोगन बच्चन के लिए कोई घटना न घटी, यही के लिए सब लोग भैया सुरक्षित रहो।
अब आज से बढ़ाए गए हैं, दुधवा से भी एक्सपर्ट लोग आए हैं और अपर मुख्य वन संरक्षक, प्रधान वन संरक्षक वो भी आए हैं, कुछ एक्सपर्ट आए हैं। उन लोगों को मिला करके करीब कई जनपदों के डीएफओ आए हैं। तो बड़ी टीम आई है और 4 टीमों में उनको विभाजित किया गया है। अब उस पर कार्रवाई तेज की जा रही है।
तो आप मानते हैं कि रात में कॉम्बिंग हो सकती है, पकड़ा जा सकता है?
रात में नहीं हो सकती,
रात में पकड़ा नहीं जा सकता।
रात में पकड़ा नहीं जा सकता।
तो हम लोग सुरक्षा अपन खुद के कई लेवे तो हमरे लोगन बच्चन के लिए कोई घटना न घटी।
देर रात का समय है और प्रशासन और पुलिस के कर्मी तो यहाँ पर हैं ही हैं, लेकिन जो बीजेपी के विधायक हैं वो भी देर रात को गश्त कर रहे हैं और कहीं ना कहीं एक अवेयरनेस का मैसेज गांव वालों को दे रहे हैं कि आप यहाँ पर रहिए, अपने घर के अंदर सोइए, बाहर मत सोइए और अपना ख्याल रखें और अपने साथियों का ख्याल रखें, क्योंकि भेड़िया रात के अंधेरे में ही आता है और अटैक करता है।
Samarth is in fact joining us live from Bahraich, Uttar Pradesh. Samarth, please elaborate on the efforts put forth by the UP government to crack down. We hear out of the pack of 6, 2 wolves are still on the run, and those are the 2 that's creating this kind of terror.
Well, Nabila, 2 wolves are there, but the villagers claim that there are 3 wolves. But the UP Forest Minister says there's a confusion. We have to look after the number of wolves. Though the official number still stands at 2. Now that's the number of wolves. Though the major update coming in, that's the number of drones have been doubled. The number of sharpshooters stationed for killing the wolves has also been doubled, as information being given by UP Minister Sanjay Nishad in the press conference happened in Bahraich. A meeting took place here for around 3 to 4 hours, where UP Forest Corporation GM Sanjay Pathak also spoke to India Today TV and said that there are 2 reasons because of which wolves could have attacked the villages. Number 1, their their home would be destroyed. Number 2, the wolves must have been attacked by the villagers. They have the tendency of taking the revenge, and that's one of the major focal points in the story, where the forest GM is clearly saying that wolves have the tendency of taking the revenge. Like if some villager did something not good with those particular pack of wolves, they are in a way retaliating now, and that's the impact from here. So that has been the major thing coming in here. It's going to be worth seeing how things unfold.
Did I hear you right? You're saying that the wolves are taking revenge? The wolves are able to recognize those people who've harmed them and they're taking revenge?
Exactly. Exactly, Nabila. That's the thing. GM of UP Forest Corporation is in an exclusive interview to India Today TV said that there are 2 factors which could be the reason why the wolves are attacking. Because the Bahraich, Pili, Lakhimpur, these are the areas where we see a lot of lions, tigers and wolves, but they never attack the villagers. They usually targeted the animals for their food. That's their habit. That's the food chain in our ecosystem. But what that particular GM is clearly saying in the interview is that, number 1, the habitual their place, which it's obviously UP floods are on in the state, and that could be the reason that their home was flooded, and that's why they are seeking help and moving to the villages. Number two is the revenge part. They have the tendency, this animal has the tendency of taking the revenge. Then that could also be the scenario that needs to be, in a way, investigated.
Wow. Thanks, Samarth. Thank you very much. India Today keeps a spotlight on this. Imagine this pack of wolves has literally killed 10 people and 9 children, including them, in just the last month and a half. Politics is, of course, erupted over the wolf terror attack. Akhilesh Yadav, the opposition leader there, and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath at this point at loggerheads over this wolf chase. Listen in.
The terror of wolves in Baharaich continues. The death toll due to wolf attacks in the region has reached 10, including 9 children. 4 wolves have been captured under Operation Bhedia. Search for 2 more man-eater wolves is on. Political blame game has begun over wolves' terror. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav has blamed the Yogi Adityanath government for wolf attacks.
हम लोगों ने मदद के लिए भी कहा सरकार से कि मदद करें इन परिवारों की, लेकिन कोई मदद नहीं की गई सरकार की तरफ से। और इधर सरकार ही नहीं बता पा रही कि आखिरकार बच्चों को कौन उठा ले जा रहा है। सरकार ही कंफ्यूज है।
Chief Minister Adityanath has hit back, reminding people of the Samajwadi Party's rule in the state before 2017.
मैं देख रहा हूं ना इस समय कुछ आदमखोर भेड़िया प्रदेश के अंदर अलग अलग जनपदों में उत्पात मचा रहे हैं और कमोबेश यही स्थिति 2017 के पहले प्रदेश की थी। ये लोग उस समय कितनी तबाही मचाए हुए थे और इनके भी एरिया बटे हुए थे वसूली के, कहीं चाचा कहीं भतीजे, महाभारत के सारे रिश्ते थे।
Meanwhile, the government has advised the locals to carry sticks at all times to fight off the wolves.
हम जानवर को पकड़ रहे हैं, पकड़ने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, लेकिन तब तक लोगों से कहा जा रहा है बचो, खास तौर से बच्चों को अपने बचा के रखो, अपने हाथ में लाठी या डंडा रखो, ताकि अगर लाठी डंडा होगा तो मामूली जानवर की हिम्मत नहीं है आपके ऊपर अटैक कर दे। रात में जब लोग सोएं तो अपने घर की कुंडी बंद करके सोएं।
People of Baharaich are living in fear as 2 wolves are still out looking for their next prey. Bureau Report, India Today.